Hello. The Bloodlust is live. Back again for another Trackmania Tuesday. That's right. Yes, we're going to be getting into the Trackmania review week 68. Appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope everybody had a wonderful Easter weekend. Had a lot of fun, some good food with the family. Heck yeah. So we're gonna hop right into it. We do this every week. If you're new to the channel, check it out over on Twitch. Give it a subscribe, thumbs up. We appreciate you. We are here for the Trackmania reviews of the weekly shorts, world records. It's one of my favorite things to do in the week. And I did actually check out the weekly grand this week. Looks pretty good. Much better than the last few. They've had some not so great ideas recently. Tracks that don't really fit together well, at least not at the speed that they expect you to be taking them. But we're gonna hop into week 68, checking out the reviews. We got some pretty fun tracks last week, actually. I saw some neat shortcuts and a clip from one of the guys in the top 10, so I mean that's freaking sweet. We got a couple of regular viewers over on Twitch. One of them is he was in 11th place on the final track. He's pretty good. Coffray TM, you can see there, part of the club. Come join it. And is TBL rally if you play Trackmania. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Experiment 1188, track 336, track 1 of week 68. It's actually, honestly, I liked a lot of the tracks from last week. They were pretty fun and just the right kind of challenging, not super challenging to the point where like a noob like me can't understand what I'm doing, but also challenging enough that there was some fun improvements to make. So the point on this one, you just want to get a nice low line there, try to keep contact with the road, get a nice entry into the finish there. The slopes on each one of these sections makes it pretty difficult to maintain grip all the way through, though if you follow the right line, it's not too bad. You can see I didn't do it perfectly there, but what up, Bean? Name a Demon Slayer character for an edit. I have like watched like one episode of Demon Slayer. You're asking the wrong guy. I'm sorry. Oh man, I was watching somebody yesterday was actually talking about a Demon Slayer character. I apologize. Thanks for popping in though, either way, Thrak. So we're gonna check out the records here. We got Bosi, Ruri Gallo, number 1 Rialo fan, Ty, I guess, with a bunch of H's, and Susui. We're gonna check out from Bosi's perspective with number 1 Rialo fan in the front there. Nice entry, getting contact with the road there, keeping low on the air time, going real tight through the rings and nice and low on the finish stretch, and pretty much straight perfectly into the finish line. I'm actually only 0.4 behind him this week. That's pretty sweet. Feel good about that. But actually, yeah, that's pretty good for me. Not that great. Obviously, you can see I'm lagging behind on every section here, but now let's go ahead and check out Ty with number 1 Rialo fan behind there. Ty getting nice contact with the road, real low through that section. almost losing contact with his front tire, but nice straight through the rings and perfect transition into the finish. That was actually a pretty sweet slide there. Nice and low, right on the edge of the road, and making it straight into the finish at full speed. Well done. Let's switch over to Susui here with Ty behind. Get rid of number 1 Riala fan. What up, Sylvia? Thanks for popping in. Susui keeping a ton of speed through each one of these sections. Hope you had a good weekend. Welcome to Trackmania Tuesday. Ty getting a little bit more speed through that first checkpoint, but Susui taking a tighter line, managing to stay just ahead all the way to the finish for a 16:158. Only a hundredth, not even a full hundredth ahead of Ty, but great run to everybody there. Susui, Ty, number 1 Riala fan, Ruri Gallo, Gal, I don't know, TM, and Bosi. That was a fun track, honestly. I did enjoy this one. Nice and easy. Horrible grip right there. We'll move on to the next one. I got number 23 in Oregon. It's not terrible, honestly. This one I definitely could have done better. I woke up with a sore throat this morning, so I'm drinking some tea. I'm drinking tea regularly anyway. But this one was a little difficult. Found out that there is a trick on this one, because you start out slightly in the air, but want to use the grass, get a nice wide line through that section. There's some sand there or something, not a substrate that I recognize, gravel maybe, but we start out with the grass there. Want to get a nice tight line that release the angle, I mean, just before you take that section there through the final checkpoint, because it's got a couple of weaving lines. Not doing as good on my second try here, but straight through that if you can, and then a drift here into the finish. Try not to hit the wall. I was a second behind. I was doing better on my first try, but this one actually isn't too bad. I honestly, like I said, I enjoyed pretty much all of the tracks from this week. This one, because you start out in the air, you want to wait just a moment before you hit the gas. Seems counterintuitive, but you actually gain speed, because if you spin your tires while you're in the air, it will slow you down a bit when you hit the ground. There we go. That was a much better attempt. We're gonna go ahead and check out the records. We got Sun, Maui, Susui, Exosum, and Yappy52 starting from Sun's perspective. Really tight leaderboard. Only a few thousand separating everybody. Really tight line around that first corner. Super close to that wall. Pretty much holding their angle all the way through and drifting just before that grass patch and barely making it into the finish before wall banging. Beautiful line there. Super tight to the wall. A little bit of separation between everybody, but they hold that nice angle just until the finish there. Excellent run. Let's check out Exosum with Susui behind. Exosum taking a little wide through the first turn. Super tight along that way, keeping their angle pretty much perfectly all the way through. A little bit of a deviation just before the last checkpoint. And barely drift tap getting into that pocket. Oh, that was another thing I forgot. That ring at the start is plastic, so you can actually gain a little speed off of it if you take that ring right there. Anyway, nice tight angle for Yappy with Exosum a little bit ahead here going into the final checkpoint. Yappy getting a slightly better angle, making it into the finish 5 thousandths ahead. Only 4,000 separating Sun and Maui. Another 4,000 separating Maui and Susui. 5 between Susui and Exosum, and 5 between Exosum and Yappy. Really close leaderboard this week. Only 200ths, 18 thousandths separating the top 5. That is a wild leaderboard, honestly. That just tells you how close everybody was. In fact, there's a 3-way tie on either side of me. I was 0.6 seconds behind. I had a lot to make up there. It's funny, right as I said Frozen, my stream lagged a little bit. Week 68, map 3. Can't really fix the lag at the moment, I apologize. This one has some obvious shenanigans. You start out with a reactor down, it seems. You could potentially go through the other way, get a reactor up maybe somehow and bounce off some things. There's definitely some potential shenanigans to be had on this track, but the best line is going to be if you can make it across the edge of that table without bouncing off of anything. I did not make it in any of my attempts, but we're going to attempt it right here. You want to, I'm going to go slow, definitely, but you want to go around that corner there and probably into the left finish, I'm thinking. Can do that kind of thing into the finish there. The route that I ended up finally making it was to the left side. You can go through here just under the tines there, and if you get the right angle, you can actually keep a fair amount of speed. My PB went under the arch of the fork on the left side, which is still pretty sketchy, to be honest. This whole route is very cluttered. This is probably the one map that I didn't particularly enjoy from last week. Unfortunately, because it looked like a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that was terrible. But there are a couple of different routes you can take, and there is some shenanigans, of course, since there is the reactor. You can possibly pop up off of that maybe and fly through that checkpoint and into the finish straight on the right side, but we're gonna check the records, see what they did here. Got Susui, GV Mania, Demoku, Stratty, MLG PD. MLG PD, that's a name I haven't seen before. We're gonna start from Susui's perspective with GV Mania and Demoku in front there. They're going pretty much straight to the reactor, hitting the left side, going over the, honestly, so they intentionally hit that fork and actually flip themselves off of the checkpoint. Susui bouncing off of the plate, going into the finish there. We're gonna have to go individually, bouncing off of the checkpoint and landing upright and making it off of the plate straight into the finish is crazy. Let's check out GV Mania. GV Mania goes a little more wide, aims for the right side of the checkpoint instead of the left, and gets a really smooth transition off of the fork onto the plate and barely makes it into the finish, just in the edge there, back corner kinda. And we got Demoku once again doing something a little bit different. Generally the same thing, but slightly different results. More to the left side, over the fork, flipping and bouncing off of their top into the early side of the finish. That's wild, honestly. And he hits the horn before going in. Very nice. However, you're gonna notice these guys are actually pretty close together, but we got Stratty and MLGPD are a full half a second ahead of literally anybody. They are a half a second, the top two guys are half a second ahead of 3, 4, and 5. For a world record, this is gonna be insane. So let's see what's going on with Stratty here. We're gonna put MLGPD in front. MLGPD going really tight to the right there. Stratty and MLGPD going over the fork and bug sliding into the finish. So smooth. That was amazing. How did they get so far ahead though is my question. Half a second is crazy. When they took basically the same exact route as everybody, they got the reactor up. Wait, it's reactor up for everybody, right? Yeah, they got the reactor up. And just went so smooth over the fork. I'm just kind of trying to break this down and analyzing it honestly, because I'm so curious how they managed to get so far ahead of anybody. It's insane, honestly. Moku, PD, they're all pretty much even up to this point. Stratty and PD though, because they get that low line and bug slide off of the plate, it pretty much just throws them directly into the finish line with so much speed comparatively. That's amazing. Well done to everybody there. MLGPD, Stratty, Demoku, GV Mania, and Susui. Honestly, that was a pretty intense line. I am impressed by Stratty and PD's lines there. That just, it's crazy the amount of precision that goes into that, honestly. You wouldn't think it takes all that much precision, but hitting that fork like that and keeping speed is crazy, because of the fact that it's just the angle and the height of the edge is so hard to line up, honestly. I want to see if I can't get just even one launch off of that thing. Like I said, the amount of precision here is crazy, because you got to line yourself up pretty much perfectly off the landing. You don't have any time and barely any grip to make any deviations on this line. Yeah, that's crazy. Well done to everybody again. That was track 3, Kitchen Chaos, week 68. Moving on to track 4 here. We're almost done with our reviews. Pine Ridge. This one was fun, and there was a pretty sweet strategy to getting into the finish. Oh, finger slipped. Unfortunately, I had a really good line there. Anyway, there's a pretty neat strategy to getting into the finish on this track. You want to try to get as close to the inside of that as you possibly can. So you want to turn early, go a little wide here, turn early. There you go. And you stay on the lower side of the dirt. Keep as much speed as you can through here, and you're gonna notice my PB deviates to the right, and I'm a second behind. How does that even make sense? Well, I'm number 15 in Oregon on this one, and thanks to Coffre, got a pretty sweet line that definitely did help me improve last week. It didn't take even all that long to grind it, honestly. Like, maybe 20 minutes of attempts. If I wanted to, I probably could have gotten an insane time on this track. Dang it. I don't know what Coffre ended up, but I think I probably just made it inside the top 5,000, honestly. He's probably in like the top 50. So you go along this line here and you hit just the inside of that rock, and if you do it right, oh, nope, don't have the line. If you do it right, you'll launch pretty much straight up into the finish. We'll go ahead and watch my own PB here. Oh, I actually ended up in the top 3,500, dang. But not the perfect line across the dirt there, but you want to get nice and low here, staying as straight and keeping as much speed as you can, and you just bounce off that rock and straight into the finish line. It's actually an excellent run. I'm pretty happy with that, but we're gonna see, we got Goods Miracle, Susui, Ken Abo, JMCQ, and Sunyaka, Sonyika XDD here in the top 5. Bunch of names that I don't recognize. We got Susui and JMCQ I've seen a few times. We're gonna start from Goods perspective with Ken and Susui ahead. Nice line across the dirt there, super tight through that section. A little bit of a speed slide, a little high on the wall there, but they bounce off of the rock and looks like he just barely made it into the finish. We got Goods Miracle and Susui actually tied. It's Jesus, he says on the back of his car there, and just barely gets his front tire across the finish line for the top 5, tying again with Susui. Let's go from JMCQ's perspective with Kenabo behind. JMCQ goes pretty much straight down that first section. Got the red panda on his car, it looks pretty sweet. Looks like an RC car maybe. Nice and low across that dirt section, hitting to the inside, and again, just barely making it across the finish line, getting his front tire in there. I actually really like that skin. I kind of want that, honestly. Looks sweet. And there it is. But we got Sonyika, Sonyika is slightly ahead of JMCQ by 300ths. Much straighter line across the dirt there. Perfect speed slide all the way through that section. Coming up to the end and making it straight into the finish for 300ths improvement, a 15,161. 6/10 ahead of me. 6.3. Beautiful run. Absolutely excellent lines. That was actually exciting to watch, honestly. They had the angles there. They had so much speed when they finally got down to the bottom here. Nice and straight across the dirt here. Perfect speed slide if you can get it. And low through this section. Full grip in it. And right into the dang tree. Nope. Yep. That's what I expected, honestly. That tree is so in the way. You have just the tiniest bit of that rock exposed to be able to use it for that launch. You gotta hit it just right. Oh, and I missed it again. I can't adjust that. Yeah, it's such a small target. Great line. That was Pine Ridge, week 68, track 4. On to the last one. This one was pretty sweet. This is a water wood slide track. This is actually a lot of fun. It's an interesting interaction. It's kind of almost like I don't know how to describe it, honestly, like snowboarding in a way. I do enjoy this kind of style, the wood or water on wood. It's just a very unique interaction compared to a lot of the other things. Now there is a technically a strategy to go up onto the grass, and if you can get up there early, you can get all of that water off your tires, and then you get full speed into the finish. But it doesn't really work out, honestly. It is definitely just much faster to go across the wood with the wet tires. And once again, thanks to Coffrey. Coffrey did actually make it pretty high into the leaderboards last week on this track. Not exactly sure where they finished, but he was number 11 when we were playing together last week. So bounce off the plastic, build up some speed just before the finish here. And Coffrey actually went off of this corner and flipped backwards, getting the back end of their car into the finish, though he said that is not even the fastest way. I'm assuming I actually almost did it one time. Had much better lines, I guess, but going through here, and I did manage to get a nose down and almost bumped over that. If you can force a nose down on that last turn, then you can kind of pop up, get your front tire over the wall, and because it's plastic, it actually launches you pretty much straight into the finish. But you gotta hit it, as I said, just right. And you really want the right angles on this too. It's kind of hard to tell, honestly, but if you can get you want to have kind of like almost a perfect 45-degree angle when you have this mechanic to keep the most speed. Yeah, almost. That was kind of how I did it, but we're gonna go ahead and check out the records. I got number 19 in Oregon. Don't feel too bad about that. Just inside the top 6,000 overall. We could actually 11.8, so he's actually 0.2 behind the record. Honestly surprising, but let's go ahead and check out Coffrey's run just for fun here. Coffrey going to the right and using the bouncy as much as possible for speed, hitting that back tire, sliding through that last section, and bouncing off the corner into the finish line. That's crazy. What a run, man. Love to see it. That's a great interaction, honestly. Well done. So we're going to check out the world records now. See how they managed it. Got 0.2 ahead of even that, so they got to get in there with some serious speed. We got Lusa Sol, Ken W, and Tomac 1NO. Tomakino. Something like that. Taking that corner straight so they can get the wall bounce off of the plastic, keeping all of their speed, and basically doing exactly the same thing that Coffrey did, but just with a little bit more speed. Kind of hard to keep all of that speed across that last section. Pretty much going straight into that. Surprised that Lusa didn't catch their tire on that corner. And looks like, is that Ken W? Ken W actually totally skips. He goes for the regular line there. A little bit of a slide in, bouncing off of the first, just the wall there on the downhill, straight into the finish. But only got in there 1,000th ahead of Lusa. Tomakino with a little bit better angle off of the bounce, but Ken getting that launch off of that slight corner there is kind of crazy. Let's check out Crazy Dude Crook with Tomakino right behind there. Looks like Crazy Dude Crook got in 200ths ahead. Nice snap across the dirt or the wood there, and going in almost flat, pretty much straight. Nice snap there, keeping a ton of speed through each section here. A little bit of a back bounce, but it actually managed to gain them speed forward, surprisingly. Well done, Crook. And we got Twin Dowers here with Crook behind. Straight through that corner, building up speed. Nice smooth line, hitting the wall every time, going straight into the finish. Making it pretty much perfectly. Well done. Good line. I'm so distracted by their car, honestly. That adorable cat face is kind of crazy. Well done to Twin Dowers, Crazy Dude Crook, Tamakino, Chem W, and Lucasol. Top 5 in the world. And can't see Coffrays in the UK, so not exactly sure. Can't look at specific regions, unfortunately. At least not on the Xbox. Well done, everybody. That was Eden Slide, week 68, track 5. I enjoyed that one quite a bit, honestly. But we are now moving on to week 69. Giggity. And we're going to go ahead and do our discovery. If you are here and you are a Trackmania player, we do have a club, actually, that you can join. And we can play together if you would like. It looks like I forgot to deactivate that room last week, but that's fine, honestly. We're gonna edit this. We're gonna replace that with this week's tracks. Interested to see how the pool table turns out. I think it'll be fun, honestly. We're gonna go ahead and join TBL Rally if you're interested in joining the room. Want to hunt together? Here we go. I am not a I haven't played any of like the previous games, TMNF or anything. Played a little bit of Trackmania Turbo. But this reminds me of one of the original tracks from TMNF, like AO6 or AO2 maybe, something like that. But looks like a super simple, pretty much straight line. Want to get a nice speed slide through this whole section if you can, holding it until the end, and then we got some boosters there on the outside, so basically looks like once you get up to speed, you pretty much just want to take the perfect speed slide all the way through if you can. Boom! There it is. What up, Adrian? Thanks for popping in. Huh. Well, we do Trackmania every Tuesday. Pre-recorded message. Nice straight line across this section. We want to get a nice even speed slide, at least as good as we can. Had a little bit more speed in my PB. Tight turn there, straight line between those boosters. Going really high for the speed slide, hoping that's going to pay off maybe. It did not, unfortunately, so. We might try, instead of going in the inside of those pipes, looks like actually a good idea. Might try, instead of going wide for the speed slide, might try going more to the inside all the way through here. Skip the boosters and go straight for the finish. And that did actually get us a PB. Okay. Lots of 69 today. Giggity. 18,720. Okay. If you're a Trackmania player, you can check out TBL Rally. 2 words, TBL space Rally. And you can join, hunt together if you'd like. We actually have some pretty good racers in the club. 18.4, another almost 0.3 improvement. That's kind of crazy. Okay. Want a nice tight line through there. Dang it. Without hitting the wall, hopefully. Catch all of that booster. Tight line there, nice. Straight through this section. And speed slide all the way. Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I feel good about that, actually. And another 0.2. Dang, we're about to break the 18-second barrier here. I don't even know how good that is, but I feel like I'm improving quite a bit, honestly, every time we do this. Tight line there. Yeah, I kind of want that speed slide. You go a little bit wider, but you gain more speed and you have less obstacles in your way after that angle. Okay. Almost so close to breaking the 18 seconds. Another 0.15. 300ths away. Tight there, straight through here. Once again with the speed slide. Not much of a speed slide. Looked like I actually did better with kind of what was like a quantum slide there. Straight through this section. Nice speed slide, but could have been better, honestly, and didn't have quite the angle that I did on my PB. Here. I think I waited momentarily just before I turned. Nice line. Oh yeah, so much more speed. Okay, that was much better. So yeah, if I wait slightly to turn before I go up that hill. Much better, full grip all the way. Once again, almost the exact same behind. By a 100th, honestly. Nope. Catched it at just the right moment. A little wide here, I'm thinking, actually. There we go, nice and low, full grip all the way. Boom! 17.9, baby. broke that 18 seconds. I feel pretty good about that, actually. We still got 3 minutes left. I could probably improve even that, I'm thinking. Nice and tight here, a little wide. Nope. That was not great. Dang. Almost. Go as tight as I can through that booster there. I have ample time to set up this line. See if I can snap into that quantum slide. Just like that. Dang, 9 thousandths. So close, actually. Way behind that time. 0.1 is a lot when you got this much track, so much speed. The speed definitely reduces the time between things. Oh, that would have been amazing, actually. Nice and tight through that section. Nope. Dang. Just a little bit wider. Dang it. Once again, not quite. It's a good attempt. Got 10 seconds. See how far I can make it, honestly. If I can even get to the second booster. Not even. Feel pretty good about a 17.9 though. Could definitely improve. Gonna take some finesse. Get that nice smooth line. And this one looks kind of interesting. If you are a regular viewer, you know I am not a fan of tech, honestly, but can probably do pretty fine. This is a drift track, clearly. Something there. Got the author medal first try. Wasn't the most bestest run of all times, but we can probably improve that. Need to go a little wide. Nope. More speed. Dang. Yeah, we want to go wide on that. So I want to finish my drift to the outside. So we can go like this. Well, that was better, honestly, but still not amazing. There we go. See, that's the line. Want to go to the right and try to land on the downside of that last hill there, that tabletop or whatever. Want to go this way, but you need a little bit more speed than that. Dang. That's a tough one with that much speed. There we go. Oh, the tree. Of course. Okay. I think I'm starting to figure the line out on this one, kind of. Ah, the tree again. Almost. That was almost it. I drifted just a little too long, lost a tiny bit too much speed on that last turn there. You do need to drift though, because you want to end up on the inside of that turn. Nope. Not quite enough speed. Landed in the drift that I wanted though. That was pretty sweet. Ah. That would have been such a great line. I could see it. More speed. That was such a sweet line though. Some days I'm just on it with the drifting. Other days it's like I've never even done it in my life. Today is one of those days that I'm feeling the drifties. So close, honestly. Yeah, I need to go sideways off of that transition so that I can freaking drift into the line that I need. Too sideways. Not quite that sideways. Almost can make that. Once again, needs slightly more speed. I can get that speed, man, that's gonna be a tough one. Oh, need just a tiny bit more drifting. That was it too. If I had gone a little bit higher on the ramp before transitioning. No. I was hoping the wall wouldn't screw me too badly, but that was wishful thinking, clearly. Nah. Nyah. Even if I can make that, might be worth it. Yeah, baby! Oh, no! Oh my god, I finally made it, though. That was such a good line that I had. If I can replicate that. Oh, almost. Dang. If I had turned inward just slightly. Dang it. Lost too much speed. No. Last chance. Dang. Was doing so good. This looked like an interesting one. It's kind of a maze. And you get a quick overview right before it starts. Looks like it was built on grid, honestly. Author medal at least. Okay. 14.6. see what our overview is. Actually go to the outside. That looks like a much better line. Almost. It is faster though, even with the wall bang, so we know at least that's a better line. We can probably slalom that very carefully. Need a little bit of a drift though still. Just a tap. Honestly, the wall bang worked, honestly. Wasn't what I was trying to do intentionally, but it worked. Once again, nice, 12.9. I could probably be doing it much faster then, honestly. Oh, 12.8. Almost didn't make it. No. Dang. Oh, 12.3. That was such a smooth line. I felt so good about that one, honestly. Drift just before that last line. Sets you up for such a sweet angle into the finish there. Managed to beat my PB just the tiniest bit. 12.3. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Not quite as much speed, but still a really smooth line. I didn't drift that time. And the drift allows you to kind of snap around that dog leg. So I'm thinking the drift is probably optimal, honestly. Dang. I was so far ahead right there. Bad angle. I had a good amount of speed though. Ah! If I can make it just on the other side of that point. No! Didn't drift, no. Probably could have done it without drifting, actually. Had a nice wide line, but... Nope. Need a little bit of a drift because it snaps you around that corner. Just a tiny bit. Didn't work that time. Ah! Dang. Oof. Not great. 0.28 behind. Ah. Nah. Sad day. I don't know if we're gonna improve before the timer runs out on this one. Oh, let's go. 12.28. Pretty freaking sweet. One more try, maybe? Ah, nope. Not quite. That's okay. I'm fine with 12.28. After 10 minutes of attempts, that's actually pretty good, I'm thinking. We'll see how it stacks up to the regional records in a bit. See what track 4's got going. Just like another full speed. Lots of full speeds lately. Not that I hate them or anything, but definitely not my style. I have a hard time with the full speed. It's just tough to learn, honestly. Dang it. Keep hitting that corner. Here we go. Almost. We got the checkpoint anyway. We'll keep going. Just because I want to see what's up ahead. More speed, low angle. Low through here, and finish line. Alright. Okay, tight there. We want to transition with a full grip, or maybe just barely over that penalty grass, maybe? Yeah, just missed that penalty grass if you can. And boom, there we go. Good improvement. Orchid Slide, love that name, actually. Got the author medal, 17-3. Keeping our speed, bumping over that penalty. Low through that section, and all of our speed into the finish. We want a tighter line. We could definitely break 17 easy. I want to go low here. Tight a line as you can get into that finish. Low through this section, skip the grass. Tight line, want to jump that grass. Go straight through here. Try to keep all of your speed. Don't want to lose contact right there on that last drop down though. There's enough of an angle that you can lose contact. So you want to go a little to the left, slightly wide so that you can keep contact, and then turn into the right. Dang it. There we go. Still got airtime. Oh, I hit the wall. Unfortunately. Nice. Tight line there. Get that grass as much as we can. There we go. Boom. Speed slide into the finish. 16,995. Sounds like a cheap car or something. Dang. Catching airtime, not catching airtime on that, I should say. Pretty difficult. Yeah. Nigh impossible, you could say. Ah, dang. You go straight off the end. Landing kind of sideways. Nice. 16,876. Let's go. Making huge improvements today. Feel pretty good about this, honestly. A track like this would usually take an obscene number of attempts for me to really pick up on, but I feel like I'm on it today. Brain's working in overtime. Or overdrive. That wasn't too bad. Need more contact with the road though. There we go. That's a good line. Oh, too wide. Ooh, 5,000. That was a close one, honestly. If I could get the rest of the track even with my current PB and have that finish, that would definitely smash my current time. Dang. Getting really close, honestly. Ah. Dang. Not even close. There we go. Yo, let's go. 16,747. Once again, so much speed into the finish line. Can I improve one more time before the track ends? Probably not. Not with that kind of activity. Okay, that was a good line. Nice speed. Okay. Yes. 726. Heck yeah. Feel good about that. Orchid Isle. Pretty sweet map. Doesn't look too bad. We'll see how that stacks up to the rest of the leaderboards once we get done with this final track here. Eight ball pool. This one looked kind of interesting, not gonna lie. So I'm thinking you want to go around this one. This way. grass. Or is it dirt? I think it's dirt, honestly. Dang it. I want to get just around that pool cue. Too tight. There we go. Gain a ton of speed from the zoop, actually. Nice. Rings are kind of deceptive. You don't see the full thing. I'm just dumb, honestly. What? Okay. Need to bounce over that later, it seems. Oh, geez. If we can get some of that action through the last checkpoint. Trying to go too wide for no reason. Got the awful metal anyway. There's possibly a faster way, but I feel like this has the most potential, honestly. We can get a zoo. Okay, that kept a lot of speed. Second faster, 14.2. Okay. I don't know how I got a reactor up there for a second. Honestly, dang, if we can get the right angle off of this. Okay. A little bit further down the stick, ladies. Half a second. Seemed like I was almost behind there for a second, but oh, another 0.05. Okay. Look at that. That was smooth and sweet, baby. 13.3. We're making all kinds of crazy improvements here. That is one thing, is the rally car is notorious for its climbing capabilities. Oh, barely. Just making improvement after improvement at this point. Again, holy. I'm kind of wondering how I'm even doing this at this point. 13.2 is pretty good. If we can get like a crazy reactor flight, or not really a reactor flight, but a good zoop even, off of this first stick maybe. Or this one would be great. And land at a nice, nice straight angle. Oh, okay, that was something. Nope. Too much. Trying to hit it too hard at this point. Good amount of RNG, honestly. It's a bad angle. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get another improvement at this point, but yeah. Dang. Well, we definitely made some good improvements on that one. 13.2 feels good, honestly. Not gonna lie. Yeah, we're gonna skip to the next one. I figured out a really good line on this one, and I just want to hit it one time. TMNF Memories. Wow, if I had looked at the name, I didn't even look at the name of the track. Yeah, it's totally a remake of one of the TMNF game or maps. Oh. Dang. Need to get back in the groove of this one momentarily. Ah. Not as on it with the drifting. Well, I still made it 1.2 ahead. Let's go, 16.8. I feel good about that. If I can make it in without slowing down or hitting any of the walls. Ooh, actually, that almost worked. Not intentionally, but it did. Ah! No. If I can land super wide like that at the right angle. Oh. Barely. Yeah, I definitely had the speed for that, but I didn't have the right angle. It's the first time I managed to make it up to the tabletop, though. Definitely a lot of speed then. No. Ah. Oof. Oh, auto drift. Ah, didn't have the speed though. barely made it up to the upper level that time. Not what I'm trying to do, obviously, but... Oof. Keeping it interesting for my brain, you know? Trying not to zone out too hard. Nope. Mm. Almost made it under the road in that little pocket. Oh. It's gonna be really hard to get around that angle with all of the speed. Maybe just need to release? I don't know. Feels like if you do it right, you shouldn't have to release at all, honestly. Dang. Ah. Let go of the brakes just a tiny bit too early. Ah. Making it up to the upper section with speed more often now. Not the goal, but testing my speed on it is teaching me little things here and there. What up? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, Monstruito? Just trying to freaking nail the angles on this track, but running out of time. How's your Tuesday? What are you doing today? Looks like a Minecraft enjoyer. I haven't played Minecraft in a long time. I have been playing a lot of Valheim lately. Could take a break and show you the castle I'm making. Improving your PB on the weekly shorts, hell yeah. That's what I'm working in. If we can't make some little improvements, maybe. This one is pretty tough because it's got a lot of sharp angles, but if you break just before this corner, get nice and wide here and drift, you can kind of snap into the finish there. What's your PB look like? I'm on an open room right now if you want to join. Top 1 of Spain and top 12 on Europe. Holy. Rock on, man. I get some really good players that pop into the stream sometimes. Coffre likes to hang out usually, but haven't seen him today. Dang it. Now I'm doing garbage. I don't even... a 10.5. Dang, how? Honestly. That sounds intense. How do you get a 10.5? Go all the way around the outside. Speed sliding the whole map. On this one? Ow. Or on the last track I was looking at. You don't even get fast enough for speed slides on this one, at least. I don't think so. Oh my god, I just noticed that outside line. That would actually probably go a lot faster. How would I get into the finish with all that speed though? Can't believe I just now noticed this outside line though. Crazy. If you want to join the room, we are on TBL Rally. It's my own club. I even have a campaign that you can try out if you like. Dirt themed, hence the name Rally. I don't know how I would get in there with that much speed. Barely make it around that corner with that much speed. What? Oh, from my previous attempt on this run, I was gonna say I was clearly behind my PB. I was so confused for a second, honestly. almost. Man, that was actually pretty quick. 10.5. Man, I'm struggling. How would you get a 10.5 on this track? You must be talking about the previous one. There's no way. Haven't tried this route, honestly. And there's a good reason. It's garbage. Maybe, though, there could be some potential to this. Go all the way to the outside. You can make that turn. That would actually be a lot of speed. It's super behind, though. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be making too many improvements on this one. So we just go ahead and exit. Check out TBL Rally. TBL Rally, as you can see there up at the top. We have 6 members currently. Last week had 5, so getting a couple extra people. Also check out my STDM rally campaign. Put a fair amount of work into that. Been meaning to add to it, but just haven't done recently. Haven't felt like mapping. It honestly, it does take a fair amount of attention, brain power, thinking. I don't like to think. I just do. I'm just kidding. But in any case, we're going to call it there. I appreciate everybody for hanging out today. Thanks for the follow over on Twitch, Monstrito. Thanks for anybody else who followed over on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that like button, give it a subscribe, and check out the links below. We got the full screen over on Twitch. Hope that everybody has a wonderful Tuesday. Stay safe, stay warm, and as always, trust in the bloodlust.